Close to 1,000 people attended a memorial service this afternoon. They remembered Meredith Emerson. Almost 100 of the mourners were law enforcement officials, including GBI agents who searched for her in the North Georgia mountains. As 11 Alive's Jay Watson tells us, Meredith's family and her dog Ella were part of the emotional service.
It's nice to see how loved she was and how much she'll be missed.
Close to 1,000 people crowded into Central Presbyterian Church. They came from different seasons in Meredith's life, from the family she babysat for from the church, to college classmates and professors, to her work colleagues, her family, the citizens and agents who tried desperately to find Meredith in time, to those who never even met her.
Meredith's story and Meredith's life has really captured the heart of this community and this state.
Meredith's parents and immediate family made sure their daughter's last true companion was at the service. Ella is their final link to their beloved girl.
Ella is now a very important symbol for the family of Meredith. She's one of those tangible things that they will have to remember her by.
The service ended with a slideshow that captured not only the grown-up Meredith, but Meredith as a little girl. Photos of a delighted child who was loved and who always will be.
It's heartbreaking. She doesn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this.
Cameras were not allowed inside the service today, but reporters were, and we wanted to share with you that at one point Meredith's mother went to the podium and thanked everyone for keeping the focus on her daughter and not on the man who killed her. She said she believes where you put your focus is what grows. She said she saw her daughter's light reflected in everyone in that church today, and it's that light that far outshines the darkness that has invaded their lives. In Athens, Jay Watson, 11 Alive News.
Meredith's parents say they plan to return to Colorado in about a week, and then in the next couple of weeks they're going to hold a memorial service for her there. The cases against Gary Hilton, the accused, continue to mount. A Florida prosecutor now says he has enough evidence to charge Hilton in the murder of a Florida woman. So far, those charges haven't been filed. Cheryl Hodges Dunlop was found dead in the Apalachicola National Forest in December. Officials have already confirmed Hilton was in the area when Dunlop disappeared. Also in North Carolina, the sheriff from Transylvania County says Hilton is now officially a suspect in the disappearance of a couple, John and Irene Bryant. More people who had contact with Gary Hilton say their first impressions of the man have now been confirmed, they believe. Robin McKinney says Hilton built 2 decks on her home in Snellville back in 2004. Hilton worked for a company called Insulated Wall Systems. McKinney says she filed suit against the company because Hilton's work was shoddy. Last Thursday, she saw a picture of Hilton on the news. He was wanted at the time for the questioning and the disappearance of hiker Meredith Emerson. McKinney says she feared that Hilton, after confronting him about his work, would come back.
I was afraid that he might come back and try to get revenge on us for complaining about his work. You know, that for the last almost 3 years I have lived with.
McKinney says Hilton used to brag with a co-worker about his felony convictions. Major developments in the case of a missing Athens woman now. Late this afternoon, officials found what they believe to be the body of Kale Bywater. 11 Alive's Jerry Carnes joining us from Athens with the latest on this. Jerry.
Ted, for the past 2 weeks, authorities have focused the search for Kale Bywater on Memorial Park here in Athens. That's where Kale was last seen alive nearly 2 weeks ago. This afternoon, late this afternoon, authorities found a body. They believe they have found Kale Bywater. Witnesses saw Kale in that park on December 29th walking her dog. Those witnesses say she seemed disoriented. Her dog made it home that day, but Kale didn't. Authorities searched the area around the park. They searched the lake in that Memorial Park. Today, Hall County's dive team was called in to search that lake one more time, and at about 4:30 this afternoon, they found the body of a white female matching the description of Kale Bywater. Authorities tell me that the body has now been transported to the GBI crime lab in Atlanta, where an autopsy will be performed to determine the cause of death. That's where they will also positively identify the body that was found, again matching the description of Kale Bywater. It is believed to be her body. Her family obviously was here today. They have been here for the past 2 weeks waiting for some sort of outcome. They had been believing possibly the worst, but hoping that she might actually be found alive. Of course, now we find out that that's not going to be the case. Of course, authorities now not speculating about the cause of death. They're not going to say anything about that until they hear the results of that autopsy, which will take place sometime later. We are on our way to talk to one of the detectives involved in this case, and we will bring you that tonight live at 11. Live in Athens, Jerry Carnes, 11 Alive News.
Jerry, thank you very much. Federal officials are investigating what they call a runway incursion at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. It happened at about 10 o'clock this morning. A runway incursion is when one plane gets in the runway lane of another without permission. Officials with the Air Traffic Controllers Union say an ASA flight headed for Greensboro was told by a controller to stop before crossing runway 27 right, but the plane crossed the runway in front of a Delta flight and took off. Officials say the Delta flight had been cleared for takeoff. Apparently, the planes passed within about 1,500 feet of each other, or 3 seconds apart. Officials at Hartsfield-Jackson are working to improve security now. Today, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency